Welcome back to the Renegade Report. I am Greg Kerr. Once again, we'll say it one more time. Our final show in 2014. We'll be back in 2015 with many of the spring sports. And I tell you what, Francis Mayer, our guest this time around, producer of the show, threw the show together and got all the interviews. Greatly appreciate it. You're the man about campus over at Bakersfield College.
Thank you, Greg.
So thanks for bringing everybody on board. Let's talk, before we get to spring sports and what's coming up 2015, football banquet. Touch on that a little bit for us.
Well, it was a lot of fun. It was in the banquet room over at Hodell's, and if you've never had a chance to be over there, I hadn't. It's a super classy facility, and Bob Hodell put on a great show as usual. And it was really an in-house celebration for football. I think you've been around the Renegade football program long enough to know that they're not much on individual honors. But this night was a rare exception, and some guys got singled out for a range of things, not just the normal things like offensive and defensive team captain. And by the way, offensive team captain was Tarek Yagi, no surprise there. But also best practice players. And that award actually, I believe that's named after Coach Collis, Jerry Collis, who is an icon of Bakersfield College athletics. And so some of the awards that got given out were offensive line MVP, and that was Garrett Johnson, the center. He held a unit together that was plagued by injuries and had a bunch of guys playing out of position, but he was the glue in a lot of situations. Parker Campbell, who had one of the most prolific seasons by a kicker, was special teams MVP. And yeah, that's going back several years. I don't know when the last time that we had a kicker make as many field goals as Parker Campbell made, but he had a great season. Jordan Nichols was outstanding linebacker. He's a guy who has also blossomed and come together. Pat Marzette got an all-around award for being a great teammate and a good guy to practice with. And Darren Ajay also was recognized. And let me tell you, I sat with Ajay actually at his table, and I never had any idea how funny that guy is.
Really?
Yes, he should have been the MVP. Watch out, Greg. He's going to be stealing
last time
gigs
I was
from
on the
you.
show, I actually said he was a Frontier product. He's Liberty, and I slipped on it. Somebody caught me on Twitter on it, and I thank him for that. But,
absolutely.
But yeah, he's a funny guy, huh?
He's a super funny guy. He had a running commentary going on through the whole thing. And one thing that he did hit on that was pretty funny was he said, "Hey, man, I feel like the secondary swept these awards." Dom Frasch, not surprisingly, was named MVP of the team.
Yeah.
And Coach Judy pointed something interesting out that I think it started with the Citrus game. They really started intercepting a lot of balls. And Frasch, of course, was a huge part of that, led the team with 6 picks. And as Ajay deftly pointed out, the whole secondary kind of came together. Bryson Briggs, BHS product, he improved after a tough Canyons game. And they were a big part of the 6-game winning streak that, of course, led to the bowl victory. So,
Well, they really did come together. What a great season when you consider the start.
Yeah,
you know?
1-4.
Yeah. So it was a great job. So we turn our attention to the spring sports. What jumps off the page to you right there, Francis?
Oh, my gosh. Well, obviously, the hoops teams are incredible. Women's basketball is 8-0, and you got a chance to talk to Coach Dahl, but also softball. This is the first year for Coach Hill, and I know that you covered her for a long time.
Yeah,
she was
Christy.
an absolute stud at Cal State, but then she also played overseas in Haarlem in the Netherlands, and we talked a little bit about that. Last year, there was a lot of talent on the Renegade softball team, but I don't know about the direction of the team. Now there's a lot of stability in the coaching ranks, and you have somebody whose talent is beyond reproach and who has a system. I feel like they've been working as a team since before football started. I mean, she's on campus all the time. And there's a certain synergy that kind of reminds me of what basketball is enjoying. And, I don't know if Coach Dahl mentioned to you, she believes that relationships are at the heart of everything. And that's something that she gets from Coach Ferreira of volleyball, who I've kind of discovered is the guru on the hill.
Yeah.
He's just an interesting guy to listen to.
Very much so.
But Coach Hill has gone a long ways to doing some team building. And one thing that softball did that absolutely blew me away and choked me up, because you and I have talked, we were pretty fortunate as kids to have parents who provided for us, but not everybody's in that situation.
You bet.
And the softball team, there was a program through EOP&S on campus where you could adopt a student with a child who maybe wasn't going to have the Christmas that they should. Well, Coach Hill challenged them to sponsor 7 kids. There's 14 softball players, so 2 players could sponsor 1 kid. Well, they sponsored 22 kids.
That is awesome.
And it took us a golf cart, I think 4 staffers, and the entire softball team to haul this load of presents up to EO and PS. And I know that there's going to be some kids tomorrow night at Roll-A-Rama who are absolutely going to be blown away. And I just think if they could band together, college students aren't known for being wealthy, and push their money together and put that kind of Christmas together. I'm just anxious to see what kind of season they're going to put together.
Yeah. So they're going to give those presents to the kids tonight?
No, actually, tomorrow night at Roll-A-Rama.
At Roll-A-Rama tomorrow night?
Yeah.
What time is that?
I think it's at 6 p.m.
Yeah? That would be really nice. That would be great.
Absolutely.
We got about a minute left.
Sure.
Just touch on Dave Freckle real quick.
Oh, my gosh. Well, here's a guy who has been a tremendous force in track and field and in cross country at Bakersfield College for a long time. He coached men and women both, and he had a huge career as a professional runner, but you'd never know that from talking to him because he's a humble guy. But he won the San Diego Marathon. Let me tell you what kind of athlete he was. It says first place, Dave Freckle /USA. Greg, when the team you're playing for is the country you live in, it's a pretty big deal.
Yeah.
But he's got scars from hip to ankle, and he's ready to enjoy his life a little bit. Not that he hasn't enjoyed coaching, but I think he wants to write his own schedule, so good for him. And one other thing I want to say is everything that we do, down to the show, down to the bowl game that we were able to host, it wouldn't happen without the help of awesome sponsors. And the bowl game was a surprise to us. We had a week to get it ready. We couldn't have done it without Wes Bradford, Clifford
Wes
Bradford
is
Insurance,
there.
Mary Trishelle over at W.A. Thompson, and the Golden Empire operators from McDonald's, Kern Schools Federal Credit Union, of course, Three-Way Chevrolet. I could go on and on. This community's awesome.
All right. Well, you've done it, and we're wrapping things up. What a better way to close things out than to thank our sponsors. For everyone here, I'm Greg Kerr on the Renegade Report. We'll see you next year.